One issue, 2 points of view. Agora.
Europe is up against it with the global financial and economic crisis, but will big nations like France and Germany ride to the rescue of Austrian banks and convince their voters those who took risks should be bailed out, or that Hungarian property owners need help? Elvire Fabry is director of the Europe International section at Paris's Political Innovation Foundation, studying the European mindset. Allan Janik's both Austrian and American and is a philosophy professor in Innsbruck. He wants to see a new philosophy of European construction. Euronews brought them together in Brussels to ask them if this crisis could tear Europe apart or make it stronger.
Because the crisis started as a financial one and became an economic one, it's seen as a world crisis. This is reflected in questions the Eurobarometer pollsters are asking people, looking for the relationship they have with the EU and how they expect it to react to globalisation. What's emerging is a stronger popular desire for more regulation, up 8 points in 5 years, and there's a protectionist tinge to it. It seems Europeans are aware that there's a lot at stake, that some things need to be better controlled, that regulation might be better applied at a European level, and that the EU needs it.
The word confidence is very, very central, and I think it's extraordinary that there is so much confidence in the EU as regulating crisis. It strikes me very strongly that that Europeans in general would benefit a great deal from knowing about each other's experiences here. Especially with globalization. In general, European citizens seem to see the world from the perspective of their country, and don't see nearly enough of the diversity of attitudes. I'm thinking of, well, just mentioned Scandinavia in relation to Central Europe, the Baltic in relation to the British Isles, for example.
Well, without any doubt, the current climate is a strong test of European solidarity. We can see that in the current debates about how and where the EU can intervene and what people are hoping for from it. And I think Europe's citizens have made themselves heard, and that public opinion has driven the effort to regulate banks and raising the huge sums of money seen at the G20. We've seen small opinion poll gains for Sarkozy, Merkel and Gordon Brown, but at the same time it's strange to see the latest turnout forecasts for the European elections. They suggest 66% of voters will stay away, and that's hard to understand.
All of the things we're talking about are full of paradoxes. A sense of injustice, which is to be found all over the place, and isn't just something that has appeared as a result of this crisis. I think it's been there for a long time. Lots of people who are skeptical with respect to the European Union seem to find a source of support and consolation from the Irish no. And at the same time, when people who have benefited enormously, probably most, from participation in the European Union, turn around and give it a slap in the face. There seems to be a growing tendency to make Brussels responsible for everything bad. It's in to want to be cool and to have a certain distance, and at the same time expect that the really big problems, as you've said, that the really big problems will get solved here, or at least the structures will be put into place.
What citizens expect the most is an EU budget and investment, but we can also see that's very limited. This weakness means it can be talked about freely and frankly.
in the middle of the crisis, I found it an interesting matter about of perception. Austrian bankers wanted help to support not simply their banks from Europe, but to support the infrastructure in Eastern Europe. When that then provoked the reactions of the Czechs especially, saying that, don't put everybody in the former Eastern Bloc together. I mean, I think this tells us something interesting and something very, very important about Europe. There is this enormous diversity that isn't really taken seriously. I think again and again of our sadly departed colleague Branislav Geremek and what he wrote in 2004 with the expansion of the EU into the East, that there was no great sense of a family reunion. He, as a Pole, and many, and there would be Czechs and there would be Lithuanians who would have had that feeling that this is a great moment of triumph. When they looked to the West, they saw all these people. Oh my God, what's this going to cost us?
It's likely that the history of the European Union was born without any idea of its final destination. After all, it was built in a series of tiny steps. Today, there's probably a different sort of impatience. There's certainly a more existential debate among its citizens who are asking, why are we doing this? And where are we going? It's also a debate about identity.
Plus existentiel qui s'installe chez les citoyens, de se dire mais pourquoi, dans quelle direction, et qui est un débat très identitaire. Le sentiment que j'ai, c'est que là,
I feel that Europeans are on the edge of a real construction site that could be a vast project in the EU's future. I mean, to find out if the EU continues to be really committed to doing something about climate change, and if it's going to convince its commercial partners.
Et au-delà, comment convaincre nos partenaires commerciaux.
The challenge is whether or not we'll succeed in becoming a world leader in this domain and be able to influence international regulation of the problem.
Sur la scène internationale.
The Obama phenomenon is something that we have a little bit to learn from. At least it's possible for people to become excited about taking part in a common project on a big scale. Now, that doesn't guarantee success, but it also carries with it the possibility that we move one notch closer to the kind of Europe that can celebrate together.